Hi, welcome to Moonlit Fly Fishing and Fly Tying Night tonight. I'm Brandon Moon, and tonight we're going to be tying up a really cool pattern. We're going to combine two classic patterns, an Adams and a Comparadun. And we're going to come up with an Adams Comparadun variant because we're going to use a different material for the wing versus elk hair or deer hair. And we hope you enjoy this and enjoy fishing it as much as we do. Have a great day. The hook that we're going to be tying on today is going to be the Moonlit Premium TML 102. We're going to tie in a size 14, but with this variant you can also tie this all the way to a size 20 or even larger sizes, size 10s as well. The thread we're using for the 14 is the Semperfli Classic Wax 12/0. We're going to use the still for this Adams color. We're going to lay a little base down at about that 3/4 point, and then we're going to put a little bit of super glue. I'm going to take a small clump of hog wing in Teton, and I'm going to lay that down over that glue, and then I'm going to spin it and twist it, almost like I'm braiding it there. I'm going to then tie that off right in front of where I tied it in at that 3/4 point. And I want to make sure that I have a long enough strand of the hog wing twisted and pulled over so that it goes down and is the length of the hook shank of this hook. After I've trimmed out the excess there, I'll make sure and cover it up and tie it, secure it down with my thread. Now I'm going to create my base of my body with my thread going back to the bend of the hook. Once I get to the back bend of the hook, we're going to take some Semperfli tailing fibers in fiery brown. I'll take 2 of those. I'm going to measure them out to be roughly a little bit longer than the length of the hook shank, to which I'll tie them in. You can see I'm tying them at a little bit of an angle. A nice loose wrap on the first one to where I can adjust this so that it sits on top of the hook shank. Once I've adjusted that, I'm going to give it a good couple more wraps to secure it down before I trim it out. We'll trim that out now so that it goes right up underneath that post. I'm going to separate these fibers just a little bit. They're synthetic, so they're going to bend and hold their form. I'm going to finish securing that down. I'll pull that wing forward just a little bit so that it's out of the way as I wrap and secure that down. I'm going to go back just about to the back of that hook where I'm going to go underneath the tail 2 or 3 times to help push and hold that tail vertical there, going out the back end. Once I feel like I've got that tail propped up nice and good, I'm going to take a Magpie wild barred turkey biot. We're using the gray drake for this pattern. I'm going to moisten that up. I'm going to take and tie the ridge of that biot towards the hook, the base of the hook. I'm going to create a nice smooth taper to my body with my thread going forward and backwards. As always, when I get up to the front, I want to make sure I have a nice level base for my biot to lay on so that it doesn't take and slip. Once I've created the taper to this body, I'm going to half hitch so that I can use the rotary feature. I like this technique because I can get a nice slim profile to the fly of my body of my fly without adding the bulk of the elk hair or deer hair. I'm going to take and wrap this biot going forward with the ridge side of this biot towards the back. You can see that wing's wanting to go back again, so I'm just going to push it forward again so I can wrap and get a nice good body all the way up into that wing. I'm going to take my thread. I'm going to secure that off by going over the top of it a couple times. I'll go in front just to lock it in place. One time in front of the wing, set it off to the side, take my scissors and trim out that biot. I always set my scissors to the side so I make sure I don't trim out and snip my thread. Now I'm just going to cover that up and secure it down. Take some Moonlit natural beaver dubbing. There's a few guard hairs in these, so it's nice on like a wet fly to have the guard hairs. This is a dry, I don't want all the guard hairs, so I'm going to take and separate them out. Take a small clump, and I want to make this a nice tight noodle on my thread, dubbing noodle. So I'll take these small clumps and wrap that and twist it on as a dubbing noodle. Now I'm going to take and create my thorax, making sure I don't crowd the eye of this hook here. Then I'll just create a nice little head. I'm going to whip finish with 2 whip finishes here before I take some super glue. And I'm going to put the super glue on just to help secure this knot and whip finish on here, just to help make it a little more durable. You don't need very much, just a small tiny dab as you see there. Now I'm going to take and whip finish that and put that glue on my knot with 2 more turns. And then I'm just going to snip that out. I'm going to pull this wing back so that I can measure it, so that I'm clipping it off just past that tail there. Once I clip that, I'm going to kind of play with it just a little bit until I get a nice, shape to my wing for a Comparadun. Separate that. This synthetic material is going to be stiff enough that it's going to help give surface tension to the water. It's also going to help float the fly. Trim out any excess fibers you don't want, and there you have it.